Have you ever stared at a text message for 10 minutes, typed a reply, deleted it, typed it again, and somehow felt your heart beating faster over a conversation that hasn't even happened yet? Or maybe you've sent a message and immediately thrown your phone across the room because you couldn't handle waiting for the response. The worst part is that you know it's just a text, but it doesn't feel like just a text. It feels like a test, a judgment, a tiny moment that could somehow change how someone sees you. And if you've ever felt that, you're definitely not alone. An entire generation is quietly struggling with something most people don't even talk about: texting anxiety. And the reason it's so common goes much deeper than you think. Imagine this. It's 11:47 p.m. You're lying in bed with the lights off while your phone glows in the darkness. Suddenly, a notification appears. It's from someone you care about, maybe a friend, maybe a crush, maybe someone whose opinion matters more than you'd like to admit. You open the message and it's simple: okay. Just one word. Immediately your brain starts working overtime. Are they upset? Are they annoyed? Did I say something wrong? Why didn't they add an emoji? Why does it feel cold? You read it again and again until that single word transforms into 100 different possibilities. Meanwhile, the other person probably sent it without thinking twice. But now your mind is trapped inside a story it created itself. The reason this happens is because texting creates a very strange psychological situation. Humans evolved to understand each other face to face. For thousands of years, communication included voices, facial expressions, body language, and eye contact. Our brains depend on these signals to understand what people really mean. Are they happy? Angry? Joking? Serious? But texting removes almost all of that information. The words stay, but everything else disappears. And when information disappears, the brain automatically fills in the blanks. Unfortunately, it doesn't always fill them with positive answers. It often fills them with fears, doubts, and worst-case scenarios. A delayed response becomes rejection. A short message becomes disappointment. A period at the end of a sentence becomes anger. Not because any of those things are true, but because uncertainty makes the brain uncomfortable. And uncertainty is everywhere in texting. There's another reason texting anxiety affects Gen Z so strongly. For previous generations, social interactions mostly happened in person. You could leave school or work, go home, and social pressure would temporarily stop. Today, the conversation never ends. The group chat is always active. Notifications are always waiting. Someone is always online, posting, responding, or watching. Because of that, many people feel like they're constantly being observed, constantly available, and constantly expected to reply. A message isn't just a message anymore. It feels like a responsibility, a performance, a social obligation. And when every interaction feels like it's being evaluated, anxiety naturally follows. Think about how many invisible questions can exist behind a single text. Should I respond immediately? Will I seem desperate? Should I wait? Am I being too dry? Am I talking too much? Did that joke sound weird? Was that emoji too much? Most of these thoughts happen in seconds, often without us even noticing. But they create mental pressure, and that pressure adds up day after day, conversation after conversation, until something that should feel simple starts feeling exhausting. Here's a common example. Imagine two friends. One sends a message and the other doesn't respond for 3 hours. During those 3 hours, the first friend starts overthinking everything. Maybe they're mad. Maybe they don't like me anymore. Maybe I was annoying. Maybe I should apologize. But when the response finally arrives, it simply says, "Sorry, I was taking a nap." That's it. Nothing was wrong. The entire emotional roller coaster existed inside one person's mind. And before you think that sounds irrational, almost everyone has done this. Because texting anxiety isn't really about texting. It's about interpretation. It's about the stories we tell ourselves when information is missing. And here's where things get even deeper. Many people think texting anxiety comes from caring too much about messages, but often it comes from something else entirely: the desire to be accepted, to be liked, and to belong. Every human being wants connection, especially during teenage years and young adulthood. The problem is that digital communication turns that need into measurable data. Seen, delivered, typing, online, last active, read at 7:43 p.m. Suddenly, social connection feels trackable and quantifiable, almost like a scoreboard. And when something becomes measurable, it's much easier to obsess over it. You start looking for hidden meanings in every detail, even when none exist. But here's the realization that changes everything. Most people are not judging your messages nearly as much as you think. They're too busy worrying about their own. The person rereading your text 10 times is probably rereading theirs too. The person you're scared of disappointing is probably scared of disappointing someone else. Everyone is carrying invisible anxieties. Everyone is trying to navigate uncertainty.